This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Hing.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio. Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. Joan and Janet are subtle energy empaths who navigate consciousness. Their passion is to support you in your evolution. As consciousness, we are all one. One mind, one heart, free of all limitations. Experience this reality with us and discover how it can make a difference in your daily living. Join us in a state of grace as we explore, with warmth and humor, this thing we call life. Now, here are Joan Newcomb and Janet Barrett.
Welcome to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. We're your co-host, Joan Newcomb, coming to you from Tacoma, Washington, and my partner, Janet Barrett's coming to you from Portland, Oregon.
Hello, everyone. What a lovely day it is here. I hope whatever time you're listening to it, it's a lovely day for you also.
It is always lovely in the center of the universe.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, today we are talking about consciousness and off the deep end, so fasten your seatbelts. We're going to be sharing about what to do when consciousness offers us more self-awareness, which is Janet's very generous and kind description for it. What we can feel like and how to recognize when you've created your version of humanity. Our infinite essence offers infinite patience for our own unfolding. So stay tuned as we are going to monitor the ups and downs and new appreciations of all that is now available.
And so here's an invitation to go deeper with us off the radio show. You can connect with us at our website, www.consciousconversationswithjoanandjanet.com. And there you're going to find out about our podcast and all kinds of good things. What you got there, Joan, that they'll find?
They're going to find, as you said, our podcasts. They're going to also find our blogs. You and I write very interesting and completely different things. Mm-hmm. And then there we have meetups, which sound the same, Conscious Conversations with Janet, or Conscious Conversations in Seattle and Tacoma and Bellevue and University Place. And they're completely different.
Everything's completely
different. And, you're in Portland as well, and I'm up in the Puget Sound area. It's about our sessions. And then the show is also on Facebook, and we are on Facebook. So the show's on Facebook, Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. And you're on Facebook, you're Janet Barrett, and I'm on Facebook, Joan Newcomb. So join the groups and join the fun. Follow us on Twitter at Joan and Janet. And then I'm also on Twitter at Joan Newcomb if you like pictures of corgis and inflammatory political things at this moment.
Yeah. And then subscribe to us on YouTube, right? Binge
Yeah.
listen. It's good stuff. Yeah, we got a channel.
And I'm on YouTube as well. And my YouTube channel is Joan M. Newcomb on my channel.
Yeah, your Mystic Minutes are wonderful things. So where are your meetups taking place?
I have a meetup this weekend. It's Sunday, May 7th. At the Queen Anne Library in Seattle. And then scanning ahead, I think the next thing is I'm very excited about this, but I am participating in Ignite Seattle. It is at the Seattle Town Hall. They do this about every 4 months or so, and it's kind of like a mini TED Talks. There's a group of, it's like 16 or 18 of us, and we're all giving 5-minute talks with PowerPoint presentations behind. And everything from how to sex a salmon, I think is one of them, to the best parks to take your kids in Seattle. And then I'll be talking about consciousness and a completely different way to experience it. Elon Musk says that we're all living in a simulation, and he and people from Silicon Valley are trying to find a way to break out of it. And I'm saying, yes, we're living in a simulation, but we're not avatars, and there's no reason to break out of it. So that'll be May 18th at the Seattle Town Hall at 7 o'clock. And if you're excited about that, you need to get tickets right away.
Yeah, and we'll be offering the free conference call on Thursday night, May 18th at 7 p.m. I'll be hosting that one because Joan will be over at Igniting in Seattle. So if you're not in the Puget Sound area, you can dial up and dial in and join me as we connect for an hour, going in depth with what being in heart space is about, making sure we all have those skills, and then the way we support each other, whether we're in Washington, D.C. or Northern California or Colorado or wherever you might be calling in from. It's a wonderful time, and we get to really visit those things that are going in your daily life and what holding a bigger stage for you can do. And they're marvelous experiences. So you can sign up at our email address at consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com to find out the phone numbers and all what you need to know. So and then you've got a coaching opportunity you're offering, right?
Yes. I take one-on-one clients. It's kind of a mystical thing. I'll be your Yoda and you can be my Luke Skywalker. I structure in 3-month increments, and it helps you hold a powerful space to completely transform your life, and includes coaching and also mystical training and consciousness techniques. So how to navigate, there's this new consciousness shift going on. The shift is going on, and there's a new way to navigate life. Old mystical techniques actually aren't working very effectively anymore because we're at a whole new vibratory level. So this is an opportunity to completely upgrade your ways of being, your ways of moving in the world, and have results that are beyond what you could expect.
Yeah. So, and that kind of feeds into what our topic is about going off into the deep end. They always say, look before you leap. And consciousness is opening up, and it's providing this place for us to really take a leap. Some people are going to put it to faith. I'm taking it to just the joy of being. And if I come at it from that approach, all kinds of stuff is coming up. We're noticing it in lots of different ways. And so that's what I think we were going to kind of talk about today. I don't know. There's so much up.
Yes, there is. And I'll have to say, I love the way that you put it, because I'm thinking that it does feel like we're all going off the deep end. Yeah. And really deep-seated core foundational stuff is being dislodged. So we're all going through our own personal earthquakes, and the foundational things that our foundational issues and our core stuff, things we might have been struggling with for years, or things that we thought were solid and secure, are just being shaken up and disintegrating. And it can feel it's very unsettling. And
I think the key is how we handle it. Mm-hmm. How we don't, in noticing how easy it is to get emotionally triggered by stuff happening around us. And if we embrace it from the place of, this is really bringing me into my own awareness of how I am in the world, and what those things that have challenged me or kept me stuck or kept me small or kept me in some way, and they really no longer serve. And it's a way to reframe the negativity and chaoticness that seems to be present. And some people don't handle change well, and you can see that result. You can see how some people are very clumsy with it, and there's all different kinds of ways to be with wanting to know yourself in a deeper way. And lots of people don't want to know themselves in a deeper way. But those of you that are listening to us here do want to know yourself in a deeper way. And so how can we make that useful for all of us? And we're always going to go back to heart-centered awareness and the field of unified consciousness, where you get beyond just your own limited viewpoints of story. So you and I are seeing it play out within ourselves and within our clients and within the marketplace, certainly. Yeah.
Yes. And it's so interesting, because you and I have been working at personal growth and helping people with their personal growth for quite a few years, more than decades here.
Yeah.
And so I thought I was pretty used to it. And, I am just pretty amazed at how some days I feel right back in the midst of unconsciousness.
Yeah. Well, don't you think it's kind of bringing awareness to what we do hold unconscious?
Yeah, I just thought
and
I was better than that. But anyhow.
Oh, there's the arrogance. Yeah, we all have that one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's humbling, that's for sure, right? And I think, when you look to be aware of yourself in your world and not judge it, but that's the first position we'll take on it, and just go, all right, there's still more to do. And, I just allow everything around me to be an access point to myself, right? And you can go, crazy with that. So you have to learn how to monitor and be realistic with that approach too. But, wow, you see everything going on around us. It's a daily assault. I mean, or it's a daisy puzzle, or it's a daily delight. So however you want to frame it.
Yeah, when you view things as consciousness, then you just don't take it quite as seriously.
Right.
You can just get out the popcorn and watch the show,
Right.
So it sounds like we should be stopping for a commercial break. And stay tuned. You're listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet, and we'll be talking about consciousness and off into the deep end when we come right back.
Would you like a fresh approach to the challenges you are dealing with? Take a journey into your enlightenment with Janet Barrett. Janet is a subtle energies empath, accessing the field of potential with warmth, humor, and support. She will help you to hear what your inner voice is saying. She will share with you how to appreciate who you are now and offer you new ways to understand and transform your issues. Reach her at www.janetandbeyond.com. That's janetandbeyond.com. Again, janetandbeyond.com. Transformation is possible. You can enjoy new outcomes in your current experiences. They can happen in the blink of an eye. Is your soul calling you to do something more meaningful with your life? Do you feel crazy for wanting to quit your secure job? Perhaps you are waiting until you retire to do what you love. Maybe you are too daunted to follow your dream. If any of these match your life, then Joan Newcomb's Purpose and Passion Coaching Program is just for you. In just 12 weeks, you will discover who you essentially are and why you are here. Learn to live as your greater self and navigate with conscious mastery. Go to joan-newcomb.com. That's joan-newcomb.com for all of her coaching programs.
You are listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. To reach our program, please send questions and comments to consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. That's consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. Now, back to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet.
Welcome back. You're listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. I'm your host, Joan. I'm along here with Janet, and we are talking about consciousness and off into the deep end.
That's really what it feels like, don't you think? Well, I mean, well, everybody's at a different place, so we want to acknowledge you, the listener, wherever you are in your development as a human being and awareness of whatever that is.
Yes.
Because some of us are shallow surface, I mean, that's where they play. And then there's those of us, skimmers. And then there's some that, not that we're bottom feeders, but maybe that's a wrong analogy, but it's our willingness to work the depth, right? And so there must be some creature that goes from the depth and comes up to the top and then goes down. It might be like a whale. Maybe we're like the whales. And, this is the perfect time energetically. You love to address it as the light showing up more or being more aware. And so we are accessing that, but, it's kind of murky sometimes when you stir the water up.
Yes.
And how you feel, right?
Yeah.
Things you thought you were settled, like you were talking about, and I've started, or the murkiness that's always been present, and you don't realize it's murky because that's just what's always been present. And so something opens up, and then you go, "Oh my God, it's murky down here," right?
Yes.
And I think that's kind of both what happens too.
Yes.
We got lots of murky. I guess we better go to heart, huh?
Yes.
I don't want to lose you, Joan. All right. So everybody, listen up here, okay? Boys and girls. The part of you that can listen, we'll do this quickly because by now I think it's, you kind of get the feel of how it does feel different, deeper, in accessing heart-centered awareness. So, whatever you're doing, allow yourself to do that. And the part of you that can pay attention with us, please join us. So, we'll invite you to just start to notice your breath. You have one. And that takes you into your heart, physical heart, and just be filled with gratitude and appreciation about being alive. Okay, and then go into that emotional terrain and just notice that from a neutral position. Yes, you have emotions. Yes, some are running. And yes, that's fine. And those are just emotions. The energy, the flavoring in our soup of being. And then just take your awareness a little deeper, expansive, whatever your term you want to use, into the core essence of all, where you and I are one, where it's the land of infinite sea of potential. It's where you have light photons and some biophotons that have a little bit of mass to them. You have frequencies and vibrations and resonances and information. And information really includes the bits and pieces, and you put all that together and you have patterns. And you have resonances that go deep in each of us. And in this space of potential, that all softens a little bit. So just notice the softening. Just notice the softening. Okay, Joan, what you notice?
I'm noticing typing. And I noticed as you were leading us deeper into consciousness, actually my head dropped to my chest and I went very, very deep. And then as I was bringing myself up so that I could talk, I was noticing like this layer of anxiety, and it really feels like it's a layer of anxiety that's kind of like a oil slick on the surface, and it is really it's really affecting. I think it's really affecting everybody on a surface level, but it's affecting our ability to feel deep and to feel the constant that is going on. And so it's so ironic because we're in a place now with the shift of consciousness where we can be more in touch with the essence of who we are, being truly authentic and connected to consciousness, which is, as you're in heart space here, you can feel the immense depth of it. You can just feel how amazing it is. And it's like never ending. But it's a pleasant feeling, and it feels incongruous with what is going on in everyday life. And I will have to say that, everyday life has never been completely congruous with consciousness, but it has felt to me at different times where you can get both things lined up and everything just seems to flow, or, regular life doesn't upset you quite as much, and you may still have all the same problems, but you can still be back in your center. And so I'm very curious about what is happening going on collectively, because everybody that I'm aware of around the world is experiencing this in some way with different expressions of it in their life. So it may be showing up in relationships, it might be showing up at work, it might be showing up in health problems, so different, expressing itself in different ways, different stories about it, and yet the core thing that's going on is, I think, we're accessing more depth. And as you're accessing more depth, it's also bringing up your more core issues. So in our show description, we talked about talking about recognizing that we actually created this version of humanity. And I think of it as that we're not becoming more aware, but as consciousness, we're coming more into form. So awareness is coming more into your personality, into your body, but it's you as consciousness. And what's changing for me about that is not necessarily coming more into the density, because in my old practice, I would ground and center in my body, and I would feel gravity increase. You could feel the heaviness of the body. And when I have the presence of mind to use my consciousness techniques now, it's connecting to the body with a focal point. So it's really like wirelessly connecting and becoming instantly clear in a way that life becomes brighter and more coherent and kind of more much more real in a way that I've always associated with being here and being present. In fact, maybe even more so than in the old days. And pain disappears when I do that as well. So that doesn't logically make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to my old energy expert self, because in the old energy expert self, if it's too easy like that, or if you're pain-free, then you're not in your body. And what I believe is going on is that you have an opportunity to be fully here and fully connected, and not in, but not engaged in the older vibrations. So it's not being in denial that there is, discomfort in the world or whatever, but it's not feeling that discomfort. But we're experiencing discomfort as we're going through all this as well. Do you have anything to say about discomfort, Janet?
Oh gosh, it's murky down there, people.
You did a little deep dive there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I tell you, sometimes feeling stuff can take a lot out of a person. So, well, group, how we doing here?
We were having a nice light conversation, but I was aware that there was murkiness in the depth.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's where we left. Yeah, and I'm sorry I didn't hear what else you were saying, but let's just all, in case anyone else tapped into something.
Right, everybody was having a different experience than what Joan was talking about.
I don't know that.
She's off the deep end here.
Well, you articulated so well. That's the last thing I heard was, oh, I'm so deep. I don't know. Right. Yeah. Okay, everybody. There's stuff up. So we just need to own it, but do it in this place from heart-centered awareness. Love yourself. Allow yourself to be real and show up and give yourself some. That's what I meant by the infinite lessons, offering infinite patience to ourselves as we unfold. The critical voice is up and running in a lot of people because that's tied into that murkiness in there. And so you just have to allow that to separate out, and the dynamics that fused information together in certain ways, and just allow it to go. This is the most incredible time for humanity as consciousness is opening up, and we're all consciousness, so we're all opening up. So what we wanted to talk about today, some part of it, was the different ways we're noticing that, and how, what are you noticing in your clients and what you hear in group, Joan? How are people, how are things showing up that maybe are different and they don't know maybe how to deal with it? Is that a good place to start? I don't know.
That's a good question, as I muted myself when I thought I was unmuting. What is different that is showing up?
For those clients and groups, because great groups.
Yeah.
How are they noticing how they are dealing with, or well or not well with, and all the range in between?
Well, one of the things that I'm thinking specifically one person is dealing with is like a complete breakdown in communication. And it seems like everybody else is completely losing their minds in the workplace, and miscommunication is going on, and suddenly deadline dates are being pushed back, and it's, there's chain reactions of things. So for them, it's suddenly it's kind of like everything is thrown up in the air. And that's one person I'm thinking of. Somebody else's life has already fallen apart, and they're trying to pick up the wreckage of it. Somebody else is actually, having kind of the opposite. It's like actually two people I know of are finally starting to have things that they've been working for years. One is in terms of like financial stability, and the other one is in terms of having a home of our own. But isn't it funny that when you finally get what you want, there's challenges as well? Mm-hmm. So that's fun. Yeah.
Okay, so what's coming to mind as you were sharing that was, we had all this big climate marches this last weekend.
Yes.
Right? And I'm thinking, well, okay, so this is the climate for change. We're describing as consciousness. Then we have this climate control, or climate out of control, or just climate, and people are appreciating it and showing up. And then you also have this part that says that's not true. The climate isn't changing. That the scientists and whatever we're documenting, don't put your belief into it. I just got that connection about how people are reacting, and we can see it in ways like that, about the environment, about what is around us. I'm sitting here under beautiful trees that are blooming, dogwoods and azaleas and rhododendrons and stuff. And so my environment is like really nourishing to me right now. And maybe some people don't find their environment too nourishing. Well, interesting.
Yeah, I would say that actually hits the nail on the head for so many people. Whether it's either their home or their business, or it's that external environment may not seem very nourishing, and it's highlighting where your internal environment is not so. So, for myself, I've always had a very rich internal environment, and I'm noticing just a lot of distraction with tuning into what's happening for me. Is I'm tuning into people. I'm a trained clairvoyant. I'm a natural empath. But all this stuff has gone right through the roof. The empathy has gone through the roof. The telepathy has gone through the roof. And it's distracting, because, I think a lot of what I'm tuning into is not really how I react or how I feel in the world, but I'm feeling the collective.
Yeah, there's more collective available, that's for sure, because people aren't in a place to prevent it from not being present. I think that's part of some of it's what's going on. People are feeling moved in ways they don't consciously or in their control mechanism have a way to deal with. It's coming up and out anyway. And so people are either in surprise or they're in reaction in some way to this thing that's going on from within themselves. I don't think you can retreat. You can't retreat, deny. You can do those things, but it's not going to prove as effective as it might have in the past. And when I look to use the word I look to come from a space within heart-centered awareness that's where the thinking comes out of. That's where I process the information from. And I do that to the degree that I can do that. And hopefully it's always more beyond my own awareness of it. That's why I can hold on to it as the excitement even when I'm vomiting. Okay? And because some people can have that overt reaction to what's going on. We're seeing a lot of illness going on,
yes.
And illness that's not clearing.
Yes.
And that's part of the nature of it, is that there is more there. And there is more there. And there is more there. And it's like these store loads, that we've been, and your capacity, to me that just demonstrates capacity, of how much and adaptability and tolerance that we do have for dealing with stuff. And how we deal with it is up to the individual, but it's there. So, and I don't think it's so much, there is that where you feel it's the unlimited source. It's a portal opening, or there's some connection in that collective, but it's also our own internals getting pushed. So, and you're aware that you're feeling a lot from the outside, and I'm aware I've got a lot from the inside, and all those outside people too. So,
yes. Yeah. Well, I think we're feeling the same thing in completely different ways.
And that's why it's so fun, right?
Yeah.
Because we get these different perspectives, and we respect each perspective because we know it's your perspective, right? And so we value that. We have compassion for it. And we also have, oh, too bad she's blind. And, and we hold that on both sides, right? And it allows us to connect in an easier way. So you can have a difference of opinion. Those that are important to me can have a difference of opinion, and I can still have compassion, respect, love for them, and not have to feel threatened by their viewpoints. And so what would it be like to be able to be around someone who has a different viewpoint, and you don't have to feel threatened? You don't have to go insecure. You don't have to hide or deny. I mean, that's a new way of maybe looking at things. Yeah. Wow. A lot going on there.
Yes. And I can't remember the analogy you used about the murky depths. And so it's like when I tried to clean my fish tank and I'm siphoning the debris off the bottom, and the water looks worse while I'm doing that. Right. Or if you're not fish tank people, if you're just spring cleaning your house, the house looks worse while you're pulling out all the furniture and vacuuming behind the sofa and all the things that don't normally get done. It's like, oh gosh, this looks terrible.
Well, it's also how you clean the house, right? Do you remember, do you dust first and then vacuum, or do you vacuum and then dust? Right? It's because one stirs up more and then you've got to clean that up, or the other way. I don't know. That was always fascinating to me. Which way am I supposed to do this? Wipe first?
Well, I like dusting first and then vacuuming, but that's because with rooms that have carpeting, you want to back your way out. And I don't want footprints on my vacuumed carpet.
Yeah. So see, people, it depends upon how you clean house. Right. That's kind of what we're doing. And how do you remodel, right? Do you have to take it down to the studs? And sometimes you do, right? Or sometimes you can just go, oh, I'd like a different color. There's nothing wrong with what's there. I would just like a fresher, different vibe to it. And so you go and you buy the paint, and then you get to select which vibe you like, because each color has a different vibe to you. And it's how the light hits it. And that's so appropriate in this. How does the light hit it? It's going to have a different tone in the morning than it does in the evening. And is it in shadow?
So Janet, what you did was you went from what a remodel is to just to the decorating part of it.
Right.
So some people, they want to expand, and they sort of put out to consciousness that they're expanding, and then they wake up in the morning and wonder why there's a huge hole in the wall.
I love it. Yeah. Right.
And so that's when I was talking earlier about us dealing with foundational stuff. I would say those of us dealing with foundational stuff are going through a huge remodel that is supposed to expand our universe, but feels as uncomfortable as living with a remodel.
Yeah. And I think we're all at different places with this. It depends upon how much work you've done. You may not have the murky depths. You may not need the real resizing of your environment. You just may need to go, there's nothing wrong with this.
Well, I'll jump in on that because, I've been doing personal growth stuff for 35 years. I've done my work, and foundational stuff is coming up. So I'm going to validate people who know that they've done their stuff and they're like,
it's still there.
Shoot, man, I'm back to and so I would like to say that you're not back to you haven't stripped it down to the studs necessarily, but you're at a new level with creating your reality.
And I think that's, that those are the different degrees of awareness, right? A lot of us have the capacity to make do. Make do is really a big deal. The make do. I'll make do with it. And then you forget that there was I'm having to deal with this because I can't deal with something else. I can't allow for something else. Or someone else won't allow me to allow for something else, which is basically us allowing them to define us and limit us.
Well, yes. So if you're in an existence where other people can influence your reality, you're operating at the wooden shield and swords level of Zelda.
Yes, and so we are all at different places. So we are going to deal or be affected or relate to what's happening in different ways. And since even those of us who've been doing this for a long time are feeling those foundations, just go with the level that you're at, right?
Well, and for those of you that feel like you're revisiting old levels, I wanted to assure you that you're probably experiencing it at a higher level, or it feels the old way, but to validate that you haven't backslid. You're propelling into something new and bigger.
Yeah, I think that I'm always, when I work with group and with clients, we always have to stay present. If you don't stay present, then you're in your story.
Yes.
So in staying present, when you look at the stuff that has been there for a long time, you are not the individual who was present when it was created. You are in this moment. And so that gives you a different grappling tool with it. And so often people, when we say get triggered by something, they feel that they are that person that they were then. And so what we're offering is consciousness, and in this state of potential is that you didn't have consciousness in the state of potential available when you were in that pattern then. Now you do. And so this is why we encourage people to be present, so that now, what was it that you thought was your issue? And then you can go, okay, is that true now? Can you feel the difference in being present now? And invariably, people feel a difference. But they slip into the thinking, I'm going backwards. It's not about going backwards at all. It's about bringing consciousness and what you know now into the past, because there is no time or space in consciousness, and how you can affect that pattern. That's what's fun. That's fun, people.
Speak for yourself.
Well, there are those days.
Yeah. Though, that the other thing occurred to me relating to what you were saying is that we created situations in the past that are no longer fits for where we are now.
Right.
And so, it's time to upgrade. Mm-hmm. And I thought about when I left Vashon Island and I moved to Tacoma, we were in a spectacular situation, but we needed a place to land. We needed some stability for a while. And now we've been here for 3.5 years, I think. And it's not feeling like a fit anymore. And I don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. No, I don't know what that means because I've spent so many years focusing on the which is also completely unlike me. So there's something coming up. There's something next. And what I'm realizing is that not resisting whatever it is that's coming up.
Well, that's how we look at the past of stuff, because, you had almost a vagabond childhood in the sense that you guys moved a lot through
yes,
Europe and different
every
places.
2 to 5 years to different
right.
countries.
And there was a certain instability in that, because then you turned to wanting stability and being someplace. And so that was playing out that part of the spectrum of it. And now you're in the place of, okay, what does stability cost? What are you giving up, or what are you making do with, or whatever? Anything is double-sided, right? The action itself is neutral, but how we choose to interpret it and experience it, it can be very different. And that's why when people make something right or wrong, it's neither of those things. You're just choosing how you want to look at it. And maybe that's what's going on is, what that all means for you, what it means for any of us, right? Because that muck down there is very stabilizing, and it can become very cornerstone. It can become very solid, and we don't even notice it anymore, but there it is.
And we don't need that muck to be anchored in reality anymore.
Yeah. It was in that reality, right? Whatever reality it was in. And, maybe you want your building to fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would it be like to see flying buildings? Well, we see flying buildings all the time. They're called airplanes. They have wings and they're designed to do that. So there's something somebody built. It's just new ways of thinking. So and I think that's what I'm experiencing right in the moment and noticing, is that there seems to be this opening up. Are you tracking that at all?
Yes, absolutely. Definitely this opening up. It's an expansion. It's an opening up, and that's part of why I think people are feeling like they wake up in the morning, there's a hole in their wall. It's like, yes, it's opening up.
Yeah. It's like a movie where the wall opens up at night, right? And then you go have your adventure and you're questioning, is this a dream or is this real or whatever? It certainly makes a nice story. It makes a nice metaphor. But what if that was really more real than not? What if you are opening up into new worlds and it is a waking dream? It is your reality. And what if it was that simple? What if we could all just take this moment right now, and what would it be like to see an opening? To experience an opening in some way. And you can do it in your mind's eye, you can see it or feel it or hear it. And what if something opened up? And you just brought all of who you are into that space. Oh, that would feel better. And I only say better in the sense that I realized that I wasn't feeling so good.
Right. Well, so hold that good feeling because we have to take another commercial break, but you're listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet, and stay tuned because we'll be talking about consciousness and off into the deep end when we come right back.
Would you like a fresh approach to the challenges you are dealing with? Take a journey into your enlightenment with Janet Barrett. Janet is a subtle energies empath, accessing the field of potential with warmth, humor, and support. She will help you to hear what your inner voice is saying. She will share with you how to appreciate who you are now and offer you new ways to understand and transform your issues. Reach her at www.janetandbeyond.com. That's janetandbeyond.com. Again, janetandbeyond.com. Transformation is possible. You can enjoy new outcomes in your current experiences. They can happen in the blink of an eye. Is your soul calling you to do something more meaningful with your life? Do you feel crazy for wanting to quit your secure job? Perhaps you are waiting until you retire to do what you love. Maybe you are too daunted to follow your dream. If any of these match your life, then Joan Newcomb's Purpose and Passion Coaching Program is just for you. In just 12 weeks, you will discover who you essentially are and why you are here. Learn to live as your greater self and navigate with conscious mastery. Go to joan-newcomb.com. That's joan-newcomb.com for all of her coaching programs.
You are listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. To reach our program, please send questions and comments to consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. That's consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. Now, back to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet.
Welcome back. You're listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. I'm your host, Joan, along here with Janet, and we are talking about consciousness and off into the deep end.
Yeah, everybody. So how you doing with your hole in the wall? Just noticed.
Just another hole in the wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And see where that leads. Life is an adventure.
It's a portal to a parallel universe where everything is unfolding in your favor.
Well, and oh yeah. Whoa, yeah, everything's unfolding into my favor. That adds a nice little
Not into your favor, but in your favor. Like on your side, in your favor.
Yeah. Right. So I would ask, if you step through that hole in the wall, is it you now or is it you in a different age? Is it you at a younger age or an older age? Just allow yourself to play.
Oh, I've got to stop that, Janet. It's not taking people back to different ages and all. It's stepping into a parallel universe where they can have it unfolding in their favor right now.
Got it. But who is there, Joan? That's what I question.
Who is there? There's the me that is having it unfolding in my favor, and I can have it in the age I am now. I don't have to go back to it at a different time. I can have it now.
Yeah, that's one way to do it.
Yeah, so you were taking my technique and changing it.
Oh, I see. Okay, because that's just what showed up. Yeah. It's like,
it goes kind of psychological when you go into the past stuff, and then you're not owning it in the present.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, grouchy old lady self showed up just now.
Yeah, really.
Speaking for
you don't
myself.
Want to play? Yeah. Well, and I think that's, and being true to the moment. Just, it was just the awareness. So what else is out there that we notice? It feels more expansive, cleaner.
Yes.
Yeah, we feel like some things have settled.
Definitely, some things have settled, and I do see that more daylight, so to speak, and things are opening. So I like how it happens just while you and I are chatting. so it's like, oh, we didn't really have to do anything. We just had to open it up and see what shows up.
See, and that's also the new consciousness. It's not about what you do or don't do.
Right.
It's about how you are. It's about being. And that may be part of this confusion that we have is I didn't do anything, or did I do something, or what do I need to do? And it's really not about what you do. It's about how you be.
What it seems to me is that it's increasingly is the exact opposite of however you did it before. You know,
Okay.
it's like, it's
Right.
like not trying hard. Or if you even think
Right.
you know, some people describe this as the time of the divine feminine, and feminine energy is receptive. And there's a lot of activity within reception, but but you can see how the energy turns inward instead of outward. So there's not a lot of empty motion or action.
No, and when we're saying you don't have to do anything, that's because you're just coming from a place of doing. But as you come from a heart-centered awareness space, action happens, movement happens, and so then what is showing up is your expression.
Right.
And that might look like doing, but it's coming from a different mechanism.
Yes. And I will have to say that within everything being different, that time and space still moves along. And so I do want to let folks know how to stay in touch with us after the show, which is our website is consciousconversationswithjoanandjanet.com. You can listen to our archived shows there. You can read our blogs. You can find out about our meetups, Janet in Portland and mine in Seattle, Tacoma, Bellevue, and University Place. We both do sessions by phone or by Skype or by Zoom. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm pretty certain there are links to that on there as well. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can find me on YouTube. I post my YouTubes on the website, consciousconversationswithjoanandjanet.com. And I have a couple things coming up pretty soon. This weekend, I am in Seattle holding a Conscious Conversations. It's at the Queen Anne Library on this Sunday. I think it's 2:15 in the meeting room in the basement. And then next Thursday, the 18th, is that the 18th? No, it's 2 Thursdays. It's May 18th is I am going to be at Ignite Seattle. I'll be doing a mini TED Talks, 5 minutes long, talking all about consciousness, navigating life from a greater level. We are living in a simulation. Like Elon Musk believes, we are living in a simulation, but we do not need to break out of it. We are both in it and out of it. Or something like that. And then tell us about our conference calls.
Conference call will be that same night, May 18th at 7 p.m. And we'll a small intimate group by phone. We'll take an hour, explore being in heart space and what shows up for us when we're there, answer any questions, share insights, and just have a sense of power. All right. And so we get into that discussion of what it feels to be present in your own life. And you'll feel that as a force to reckon with. And, not that those are terms that I necessarily use, but that's what's coming to my lips is that, being really centered. We have some fascinating conversations. We have profound moments and we have great hilarity. So be sure and join us.
Yes. I was thinking, read my lips. And the last thing to let folks know is that I do work especially with one-on-one clients. I take them through a whole transformational process. It's a combination of life coaching, holding you accountable, and learning a new way of navigating in the world with these advanced consciousness techniques that I have developed. And you can find out more of that at my website, which is joan-newcomb.com.
I love how you said holding people accountable.
Yes.
In that, and in doing that from a place with not in a judgment or in a critical voice, because that's what so often people would associate that with, right?
Right.
And it's not about being resistant to your own change, because it is about being resistant to our own change. So it's being encouraged to go, oh, because you're marvelous at what you do, and your support with people in going, okay, this is what you want, and what's, how do we get you there?
Right.
And that's the attitude we're all looking to do this work with.
Yeah.
So that free conference call, you need to contact us at consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail for the information.
Well, it's also on our website, consciousconversationswithjoanandjanet.com. So you just go there and click the link and you'll get instantly connected.
And if you have any comments or appreciations or feedback that you'd like to offer us, be sure and write us. They can do that there, can't they, Joan? Or do we want them to do that too? Or
Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. Conscious with Joan and Janet @gmail.com.
Oh, right.
All right. Well, it's been lovely. It's been lovely traipsing the fantastic with you. And I want to let everyone know that no matter what time or space you're listening to this, you are connecting and helping to co-create this in the moment. And we'd like to thank you all for joining us as Consciousness Expressing and Evolving. You've been listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. I'm your host, Joan Newcomb.
And I'm Janet Barrett. And thank you so very much for playing with us today.
You've been listening to Conscious Conversations with Joan and Janet. And thanks so much for helping to co-create the show, no matter if you're listening live or on demand. You energetically contribute to our collective experience. Joan and Janet love to hear from you and invite you to email your comments and ideas for them to explore each week. Contact them at consciouswithjoanandjanet@gmail.com. Tune in next week for another great show, and until then, keep enjoying this wonderful adventure we call life.